with each other. Last weekend we were doing a training down in Santa Barbara, and this woman raises her hand. She said, "Oh, we don't have that problem in our parish. Most of the people in marriage preparation already have children." Have I made my point? Family has become a social community rather than the reality of a natural community. So when we talk about family, it's different things to different people. I went once to a lecture given by a nun on what is family. And in the course of the lecture, and God bless her, she was talking about her religious community as being a family. It's a social construct rather than a natural one with a mother and a father and child. So when we talk about marriage being the foundation of the family, who's gonna believe that? Because more and more people are saying, my family is the group of people that gets together on holidays. That's my family. It's freedom of association. Whatever group you want to assemble or associate with, that's a family. Right? So people don't understand that word. Okay, parents. You think we can rely on that? No. Parent has become a social role rather than a reality, a consequence of procreation. Parent, this is how it works. By definition, every mother today is a mother by choice. Every mother is a mother by choice. So, fathers, they say, "Oh, she chose to be a mother, but I didn't choose to be a father." So it's a social role. And then when that happens, when it becomes a lifestyle or a social role, then everything gets all mixed up and everybody's interchangeable. This is one of the things that's confusing Judge Walker in the Prop 8 trial. So it's there's a gap with reality there on what a parent is. And also the reality of father and mother are being obscured. I was talking to a wonderful priest recently, a very good, devout man, and I was telling him a little bit about our movement, and I was saying, every child, without exception, has a mother and a father, and he said, "Oh, Bill, you got to be careful because not every child does." And I said, "Father, I beg to differ with you." And he said, "Oh, you're talking about biological, like it's not as significant as the social role." Words matter. The way we talk about these things matter. I was debating a lesbian minister on a radio show, and she, I happened to say, every child without exception has a mother and father, and the talk show host jumped in and he says, "They do not." And I said, "Okay, name one." And there was silence. And he said, "Oh, well, you mean biological." He was indignant, like I cheated. Like I cheated. There's the disconnect from reality. And kids, this is being reinforced in school. Now, third area. We need to, as I mentioned, change the terms of engagement. And reframe all of the issues in solidarity. In actuality, what is happening here is that there's two working definitions of marriage out there. And a lot of times we go into the debate on marriage not really realizing that people are talking about apples and oranges. A lot of people today, because of all of these influences that I just described, and because of how they've been taught in the schools, look at marriage as a committed relationship for loving adults. Period. We know marriage as something different. Marriage in reality, the reality of the union of man and woman, the reality that unites a man and a woman with each other and any children that come from the relationship. Now, you got to say it that way, because if you say it's for the good of children, well, parenting's a social role. Anybody can do it. It's all interchangeable. If you just say, for children, it could be anybody's children. It could be manufactured children, anything. It unites a man and a woman to each other and to the children that, or any children that come from that relationship. That's the way the majority of people coming into the world. And it's good to do that in the context of marriage. So that's the framing. Those are the two issues. And really we need to shift the debate to the public interest of each of those issues. What's the public interest of the state regulating emotional relationships? What's the public interest in uniting a man and a woman to each other and the children that come from the relationship? That's our future. And by the way, not only is there a public interest, but that interest also coincides with the common interest of every child without exception in the marriage of their mother and father. An interest that they are powerful and depend on us to be in solidarity with them and represent their interest. Okay, so now let's talk about organizing. Because we are not organized. We organize for an initiative, we organize for a bill, we organize, it's kind of tribal warfare. Do you know, our opponents have been organizing for 35 years, they've been training people. They've built a huge infrastructure. The top 30 gay rights organizations has a budget of $262 million a year and 1,332 full-time employees. It's not by accident that their arguments just roll off our lips. We know them better than we can express our own position. It's so easy because we've heard it so often and often. That's because they've been training. And you know what? There's an organization called the California Gay Straight Alliance. They have 9 full-time workers and they have clubs in 750 high schools in California where they're training people. They claim to have trained over 10,000 students and influenced millions of others. And by the way, the valedictorian from Bishop O'Dowd High School last year was on their board of directors. Now, we have to ask ourselves, how many people have we trained? How many people have we trained? How many students have we trained? How many adults have we trained? Do we really care about this? This is affecting our families. We have to change our behavior and focus and organize and come together. And we not only have to train and organize, but we need to participate in formation. We are participating in the mission, in a secular role of the mission of in the mission of the church. And we need formation to do this. Formation implies a change of behavior. Formation implies being able to talk about these things in different terms and spot false assumptions, spot false premises, spot words that aren't being used correctly, and find different ways to go. Unless we do that, we can't even talk to our own kids and our own families in ways that reinforce the real meaning of marriage and family. You know, just a few weeks ago, we were doing a training, and we were talking about how do we communicate to our children. And the person, a great Catholic, well-formed, really understands marriage, used all of the words of the culture in doing it that made what he said completely interchangeable with a same-sex relationship, unwittingly, in all sincerity. We have got to do some things differently. Now, one of the things that is critical that we've really discovered through the social teachings and Catholic anthropology and a number of other things is that part of changing our way of thinking, we have to focus on reality. We're in a culture where everybody is welcome to their own reality, and now they're demanding that all of these conflicting realities be respected and enshrined in law. It's absurd.